Welcome back to Podcasting for Real Estate Pros, where agents learn to attract clients, build trust, and stand out with the power of podcasting. Let's dive in. If your podcast intro sounds like a cheesy ad or a funeral announcement, then you're doing it all wrong. Your listeners aren't here for a commercial. They're here for a connection. So let's write intros and outros that actually sound like you. Hey, it's your host, Sue Willoughby, and today we're fixing one of the fastest ways that people will tune out of your podcast before you even say anything real. We're talking about your intro and your outro. Let's make sure that they're not just professional, but also personal, punchy, and powerful. So why do intros and outros matter? So your intro is going to set the tone for the episode, and your outro is going to seal the deal. So think about when you're meeting someone and you shake their hand for the first time. That's like your intro. It's going to make an impression. And then when you leave them, what's your final word? It's going to tell people that they belong here, that this is what they'll get, and here's what they're going to do next. So it's like, hey, how are you? Talk about what you're going to talk about. And hey, I can't wait to see you next week. Just like an old friend, you're going to greet people that listen to your show like they're your old friends. And if it sounds too corporate or too stale, you may have lost them before the real magic happens. Now, different types of podcasts are going to have different types of intros and outros. But if you are trying to build a client base, you are going to want to connect with them on a much more personal level. So let's start building your intro. Here's the basic no fluff format. The first thing you're going to do is welcome your listener. Hey, I'm Sue Willoughby, and this is my podcast. Then you're going to say who the show is for. For example, this show is for real estate pros who are tired of blending in and ready to attract clients by being unapologetically themselves. Then you're going to tell people what they're going to get. Each week, I'll give you bold insights, no fluff marketing strategies, and real talk to help you stand out, show up, and turn listeners into loyal clients. Then you're going to want to have a vibe, right? Sprinkle in your voice, add a little one-liner or signature sign-off that, it's going to sound like you, not a robot. So here's an example. Welcome to Mic'd Up Agents, the podcast for real estate pros who'd rather be authentic than average. I'm Sue Willoughby, and every week we're flipping the script on boring-ass marketing. So let's go. So once you nail an intro that you love, and I would suggest do a couple of different variations and then speak them out loud and record them. Because that way you can play it back and listen to it. Just like, does that sound right? Does that sound like me? And if it doesn't, just keep working it until it sounds great. But don't overwork it and don't overthink it. This is a really just quick thing that you're going to have at the beginning of your podcast each week. And then the next thing that we're going to work on is your outro. So your outro doesn't need to be long, but it does need to do something just really simple. And it doesn't have to be cheesy or salesy, but whatever feels comfortable for you. The goal is to get them to keep coming back. So I really like when you ask them to subscribe or rate or review the podcast, or even better, share it with a friend, because that will bring you new listeners. And finally, you're going to want to have a signature close as part of your outro. Just keep it simple, but make it memorable and make it you. Until next time, be loud, be bold, and be brave, or something like that. Something that's kind of catchy that they're going to remember. And as always, here's a few things to avoid. These are some common mistakes that new podcasters make. Really long intros with music that drags on and on. You don't need a 1-minute intro on a 15-minute podcast. People are going to skip it anyway. So no long intros. Also, don't be generic. I'm a top producing agent with 15 years of experience. Blah, 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 blah. This is why you should listen to me. Oh my God, people are going to be like, next. The other thing you don't want to do is forget to tell people what to do next, because people don't know. I know that sounds silly, but you do want them to do something. So at the end of the podcast, you're going to say, if you want more information, DM me or shoot me an email. My contact information is in the show notes, or check out my website, or follow this podcast, subscribe, something like that. Give them something to do next so you don't just leave them hanging. So keep in mind, right, this isn't your LinkedIn bio. It's just a handshake with a heartbeat, and it's an intimate connection with someone that's listening. To put a nice, neat bow on this particular episode, when people hear your intro, they should feel like, hell yeah, I'm in the right place. And when they hear your outro, they should know what to do next. That's how you build not just a podcast, but a brand with staying power. Next up, let's talk about batching, because creating weekly episodes shouldn't feel like a second full-time job. So until then, remember that real beats perfection always. I'll see you next week in episode 11, Batching Content Without Burning Out. Not quite sure if podcasting is the best move for you right now? Totally fair. I get it. Let's explore this together. So schedule a quick call with me and let's sort out your goals and figure out what your next steps are. Click the link in the show notes and let's chat.